there for this monster Thursday night matchup. Now, the Rams allowed 55 points on Sunday, the most they've allowed in a game since 1956, the most by any 3-0 team in NFL history. So what happened there? Seahawks, meanwhile, 3-1. Russell Wilson off to perhaps the best start of his career. He set career highs in completion percentage, passing yards, and yards per attempt through the first quarter of this season. The two teams have split their last 18 meetings, but the Rams have won 3 straight, including 2 in Seattle. They've never won 3 straight on the road there, and we know the numbers generally tell you there's a huge advantage for the home teams on Thursday. But this is the story. What is going on with Todd Gurley? Through 4 games this year, he's playing about the same number of snaps as last year, but his touches are way down. His total scrimmage yards cut nearly in half. Now, early this week, Gurley was asked a question regarding his playing alternating series, whether that's the coach's decision or the player's decision. And listen, he didn't like the question.
I think I've asked you asked this question before, so take the answer I gave you last time.
You were asking that question.
I don't remember giving you the question either.
Okay, so he's not in a good mood, and candidly, it's not hard to figure out why. He had 5 carries in an NFL game last weekend. So, Adam Schefter, I'm starting with you. What's going on?
Well, his yards per carry average is higher than it was at any point last year. And they worked him in the first few games of the year. I think it was 15 carries per game on average. Last week, they fell behind. They were trying to catch up against Tampa. You're not going to run the football as often as you do when you're playing with the lead, which they weren't doing last week.
So you're telling me there's nothing here, because it feels that there's a decided effort.
No, it feels like we're trying to find something wrong with Todd Gurley over and over, because they're trying to preserve him to get him to be as fresh in December as he would be in September. And people are concerned about his arthritic knees that have worn down over the years. And so we're on high alert always. And anytime his carries are down, we get very leery and nervous and want to know what's going on with Todd Gurley. And I don't know that anything is going on with Todd Gurley other than the game script. But maybe there is.
What do you think?
Here's what I do know. I do know that arthritic knees don't get better. They get worse. So, yes. But, I mean, coming into the season, all you heard from Sean McVay was Todd Gurley is ready to go. He's ready to go. He's Todd Gurley. Well, if he's Todd Gurley, why aren't you feeding him the ball? Because to me, that's what makes the Rams go. When they feed Todd Gurley and have that running game going and play action pass, that's when the Rams are at their best.
How many times do we hear the Cowboys not getting the ball as often to Zeke Elliott? We didn't ask what was wrong with him, right? Like there have been games when Dallas hasn't gotten the ball to him as much as they should have, right?
Generally speaking, the Cowboys, it feels like, and Hembo can get me some numbers, they feed Zeke a lot more than the Rams feed Gurley. And the similarity there is they've got their contracts, they're in place. Now you've got your horse riding where he wants to go. And as far as this running game is concerned, I know you've been taking a very close look at some of the tape for the Rams and running the football against Seattle tonight.
Because this offense is based upon the running game. It's based upon the stretch zone, and that sets up the play action for Jared Goff. So it's a different feel. And so as you take a look at what they've done in the past, this is the stretch run here of what they've done up front. They want to get Seals. They want to get Todd Gurley to the edge, pull the guard around, and allow him to make a decision there. You watch Carl Nassib gets up the field. He cuts him off. He forces him back inside. The interior blocking there isn't fantastic. You're talking about a negligible gain. And so this is what Todd Gurley is going to be up against with the Seahawks. They're going to try to do the same thing and try to get a fullback out there, but the Seahawks front is fantastic, and they're going to do a terrific job of setting the edge, forcing Latavius Murray back inside, a great push up front, and so there's nowhere for Murray to go with the football, and this is what Gurley is going to be facing. I don't think this Rams offensive line is playing as well this year as they did last year. They're struggling because of it, and their offense looks a little bit disjointed because they can't get that play action going.
Listen, Goff is not playing well. He signed the huge contract. Gurley is playing less or getting less touches, and he has the huge contract. And then, listen, let's be real here. A lot of people have fantasy interest in this, and Todd Gurley recently was the #1 pick in people's fantasy draft. Are we asking a ridiculous question to say, do you even start him in a game tonight? Do you expect Todd Gurley to have a big night tonight against Seattle?
I don't. Listen, to ask the question, do you start Todd Gurley? Absolutely you do, but I don't. On the road against Seattle on a short week, I don't expect them to have a big night tonight.
All right, we will see. I'm looking to Schefter. I'm trying to read your poker face, Schefter, and I cannot do it. Something is going on in L.A. I'm giving you an assignment.
That question that you just asked.
But nobody's taking Todd Gurley with the number 1 overall pick this year.
Not this year, but this is a guy who not so long ago was considered maybe the number 1 fantasy threat in the entire sport.
But everybody knows there are conditions with his knee, and the Rams are managing them in the appropriate way to try to extend it and preserve him and make sure that he's fresh later in the year. And, oh, by the way, Jared Goff signed that $134 million extension 1 month ago today.
Yeah,
and 1 month ago today.
Listen, we're talking about them when the sky is falling. They're 3-1. I get it, but it's a big game tonight. We'll see what happens. Now let's talk about the Cowboys. It's another 3-1 team that we're talking about like the sky is falling because they didn't look good on Sunday night, and they got an injury situation here, Schefter. Amari Cooper limited in practice with the ankle. Sunday he played, but he was very much kept in check by Marshawn Lattimore, making 5 catches for 48 yards in a loss to the Saints. And so, Schefter, I'm coming back to you here. Dominique and Ryan yesterday were giving all sorts of praise to Marshawn Lattimore for shutting down Amari Cooper one-on-one, and that sort of enabled the defense to do a lot of other things, namely shutting down Ezekiel Elliott. What are we hearing about the condition of Amari Cooper?
Marshawn Lattimore typically rises to the occasion in matchups like that, and that's what he did. And I don't think that was anything more than the Cowboys stepping into a hostile environment on a Sunday night game, playing an underrated Saints defense. Everybody knows how good the Saints are on offense. Not as many people talk about their defense, which is very good. And Amari Cooper did have an MRI on the foot. It has not been 100% this year, but it didn't slow him much in the first few games of the year when he looked very strong out there. Last week, just had a bad matchup, bad game. Whole offense struggled.
Well, one could look at this and say the entire Cowboys stepped up in class. They'd beaten up on 3 bad defenses. They really struggled Sunday night against the Saints. Do you feel, is it overstating it to say that perhaps the Cowboys were a little bit exposed Sunday night?
Well, listen, you look at the Saints team that with no Drew Brees, and you only scored 10 points in the game. I mean, listen, I know the Saints have a really good defense, but I don't know if we're talking about the 85 Bears here. You would think that with all the pieces that the Dallas Cowboys have on offense, that you'd be able to generate more than 10 points. And listen, Zeke Elliott was unable to get it going. They got whipped up front.
Yeah.
But don't you think that, we're talking about big contract for Dak, that's the time when you need to elevate your team offensively to get it going, and we just haven't seen Dak really do that. So to me, that's what I'm really disappointed in, is Dak didn't elevate the Dallas Cowboys in that particular game.
So I know, if he was sitting here right now, Dominique would fight you on this.
We can fight. We can scrap. I think I'll win that battle.
Well, I mean, if it's a legitimate fight, I hear you. Let me turn to you here on Zeke. I mean, what are you seeing in this Cowboys offense?
18 carries, 35 yards in a game. Now, Schefter, they stuck with the run, but it wasn't effective because they weren't able to get any push. They have so much talent on that front. For the Dallas Cowboys and their offensive line, the Saints are able to take it to them. Now, part of it was because Marshawn Lattimore was locking down Amari Cooper on the outside, but a big portion of it is they were just winning one-on-one matchups, getting penetration. Zeke's a great running back, but when you're getting hit in the backfield and there's nowhere to go, you can't make anything out of that. And I give them credit for trying to run the ball. They didn't abandon it, but there was nowhere to go. They blanketed them up front because they got so much push.
Can I throw a name out there?
Yeah.
Michael Gallup. He's a big part of their offense.
Yeah.
And he was playing really well, and he's been injured. Not having him in that offense, I think it really hurts the Dallas Cowboys.
It hurt them, but here's the bottom line of it. When your defense doesn't give up a touchdown, you're supposed to win that game.
Right, and I go back to Dak. If you're going to get paid that much money,
I feel bad. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because, 1 week we talked about where Dak should be paid. Should he be the highest paid guy? Where should he be slotted in now?
Well,
they have a bad game, and it's like, well, should they pay him that much money? It's such a week-to-week league. It's so reactionary. It's entertaining at times. That's all.
He's laughing at you is what's happening here.
Well, I love you.
Clear what's happening.
I love you, man. You know that.
And I agree with Woody, the fact that if you're going to be a big-time quarterback and you want to be paid like a top 5 guy, it shouldn't matter. There's games where Aaron Rodgers has no running game, where Tom Brady has no running game, and he's still able to go out there, those guys, and get wins.
Is it too much to expect Dak to elevate the team in a situation where Zeke is not going? Is that asking too much?
I will merely say, if Dominique Foxworth was here right now, we would be having just an all-out brawl on this set. Okay. So perhaps it's a relief that he's not. Let's talk about a team that is really struggling, right? We're sitting here picking apart 3-1 teams. How about Washington? They're 0-4, and they're playing the Patriots. Head coach Jay Gruden still hasn't named a starting quarterback for Sunday's game, and he doesn't seem to be in any rush to do so.
I'm sure you're asked this, but what's the plan at quarterback right now?
We don't have one right now. I'm going to go out here, practice today. We have individual and a little bit of work we're going to do. I'm going to see the health of the guys, first of all, see where Dwayne's at, and I'll make a decision shortly.
So you expect to make a decision today?
I don't know yet. I might just wait till Sunday at 1 o'clock and just figure it out then.
It was the first time for everything.